Did you know that St. Luke's University Health Network, based in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, has been recognized by the U.S. government as the highest performing health system in the United States for quality? You heard right. St. Luke's #1 recognition affirms our status as the top leader among the most respected healthcare providers in the nation, including Houston Methodist and the Mayo Clinic. To state it simply, if you want to receive the best care when you go to a hospital, come to St. Luke's.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi!
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Victoria Coates, the VP of the Heritage Foundation. What are your thoughts on how the Cuban people really feel with the indictment of Raul Castro?
Well, Sid, great to be with you. And
Thank you.
A quick note, I think that you should announce your campaign for mayor at JNS.
You do? All honesty, are you kidding or being serious?
No, I'm actually serious. I think if you're serious about doing it, and I think what we're seeing in the city, and I'm a Philadelphian, so I don't have a dog in the hunt, but except for the fact that I'm also an American and I want New York to thrive, and it's important to all of us. And I agree with you. He's not doing anything that's going to promote that. And if you're serious about it, I think that would be a great venue.
Thank you. Oh, and I should point out, that's very sweet. Thank you, Victoria. That last block last year, which I was a part of, and Mike Huckabee and Mark Levine and Ron Dermer and the ZOA guy, my friend, you. I was about to say you. So I hope at least you're going to be there again this year, yes?
Oh, yeah.
All
yep,
right.
We'll be there. We'll be there in force. So we'll have a reunion.
You're going to speak on Tuesday night, right?
I think so. That's what Richard Knox told me. So
That's awesome.
We'll see.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
you're great, and you should be speaking. I mean, I watch you on TV all the time, and you do a tremendous job. Maria loves you. I love you. So let's get right to it. Again, the Cuba situation. Yeah. What do you think it really is there?
No, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, rank and file Cubans are so just celebratory about this. And, I was listening to what Secretary Rubio was saying in his video yesterday. The Cuban people excel at everything. They're wonderful doctors. They're wonderful restaurateurs. They're wonderful entertainers, as you were just talking about. All across the world, they're prominent. And our Secretary of State is a Cuban. My old boss, Senator Cruz, is Cuban. I mean, you can't say these aren't accomplished people. The only place they don't thrive is Cuba. And so figuring out how we get this island from being a perpetual security risk. And I did an event at the Council of Foreign Relations last night with my Biden-era counterpart, John Feiner. And John's not a bad guy, but he was talking about Cuba, and he kept saying it's not a direct risk to us. Yes, it is. They've infiltrated our country. I mean, the very crimes that Raul's been indicted for are because their security services infiltrated a charity in the United States. I mean, the Cuban Missile Crisis was launched at us from Cuba, closest we ever came to nuclear Armageddon. So you can't say, with a straight face that it's not a direct threat to the United States. And if the president changes that without, firing a shot, as it looks like he may be well on his way to doing, that is a huge legacy for him.
That's the fight every time, though. Every time. Same thing with Iran. We don't want Iran to have a nuke. Well, we don't either, but there is no proof, right, Tucker, or any of these Democrat lawmakers? There's no proof of imminent danger. What does that mean? So you wait 10 years? There was no proof that Adolf Hitler was going to murder 6 million people 6 years before he did it. So you're supposed to sit there as the president of the United States and roll the dice because you believe there's no imminent danger? Same thing with Cuba. I don't understand it. If you've got an opportunity to take out what is clearly an adversary, if not an enemy, and you've got the wherewithal to do it, you do it.
Oh, absolutely. And, the other issue here with both the Iranians and the Cubans is we've been doing the same thing over and over and over again, rinse, repeat with them, try to get them to the table, try to coax them into reforms, and try to sweeten the pot with economic relief. And maybe they'll become reasonable. No, they're not. In both cases, 60 plus years for the Cubans, 40 plus years for the Iranian regime. They don't change. They're not going to change. The only way you're going to break that paradigm is to force significant transition in both those countries.
Right, and then when he does something with force, America First people that don't understand that America First is not only the way you keep America First is when you make sure the powers out there that want to end that are no longer in power. That is America First. They don't seem to get that. So what he did with Maduro, for example, in Venezuela was awesome. Not good, awesome. Although he seems to be intimating, the president, that we won't need that type of force like we did use in Venezuela, in Cuba. What do you think?
Well, I think we've demonstrated the capability. So that's a situation where Castro now knows that there were indictments against Maduro. I remember when Bob Barr was writing those in 2020. So this goes back a way. The president set this up. And so now we had Director Ratcliffe dispatched to Havana to, I think, send that message that this was happening, that it is real. There are reports, I don't know if they're true or not, that there's an actual recording of Raul Castro ordering the shoot down of the Cessnas in the 1990s. So there's pretty much proof positive that he was culpable very directly, not just he happened to be the top of the line of command,
right?
That he ordered it.
Yeah.
And so I think that message has been sent. You now know that we can do this. We can do it as far afield as Venezuela, so we sure as heck can do it in Cuba. And how about we, get down to brass tacks here? So hopefully that threat to his person is going to get his attention. As distasteful as it is, I'm sure we're preparing off-ramps for the top echelon of the regime so they can go live in Sochi with Bashar al-Assad or whatever it is going to be, which I mean, it's gross. I would like to see them stand trial for their crimes, but at the same time, I don't mind them sort of spending all eternity with Putin. That's not the worst thing that ever happened. So,
that's if they do that. What I don't want to see is when I go visit my mother in Aventura and I'm having a lox, eggs, and onions at Moe's Bagel Shop. One of these Cubans who committed these horrible crimes sitting there. I don't mind if they send him to basically, like you said, the gulag. But when these guys start going to nice places and really live out the rest of their lives in American luxury, that's where I get upset.
No, I don't think there would be any possibility of that. I mean, they're all war criminals, so it's very hard for them to set foot on U.S. soil. So I couldn't agree more with you on that one.
Right. So let's get to the Iran situation. I spoke to Brian Kilmeade earlier this morning, and again, I'm all for what the president did. He had the courage to do it. Every president promised it. That's what people don't understand. They all promised it. Nobody said a word. He actually did it. And I don't care if Iran was going to have a nuclear weapon in a month or a year. They had to be stopped, and that's the least of it. Okay, that's the least of it. You had the issue with the oil, the issue with the Jews, all these terror proxy groups, all the Americans, forget about Jews, Americans they've killed over the years. There's like a million reasons why what President Trump did made all the sense in the world. But even his staunchest supporters are saying, what are we doing? Like, I hear people at the Pentagon, I've gotten these messages, They said to me, Sid, we're stuck. The truth is, we're stuck. We don't really have a great exit plan. There's three things at stake here. The regime moving forward, the Strait of Hormuz, you're talking about oil and gas prices and a U.S. economy, and, of course, the nukes. And we're not exactly sure how to fix all that. Look, we can't do two of those in one day. That I've been told 100%. We cannot do two of those in one day. So now the president's disapproval rating, which breaks my heart, is at 71% when it comes to the economy. You never thought you'd hear those numbers with President Trump. So when he says, hey, I'm in no hurry, you take him at his word, 71%, something says to me, maybe he should be in a bit of a hurry.
Well, I do take him at his word because, the difference between the first term and the second term is he knows, that this is a finite period of time he has, and he has a certain number of achievements he wants to make. And of course he wants to keep the House in the midterms. But at the same time, if he has this opportunity to really make a decisive change in Iran, remove that danger of a nuclear weapon, I think he's going to do it. And in this case, the other point I would add to what you were saying is we have tried everything with them. We have tried engagement. We have tried economic punishment. We have tried the JCPOA. I disagreed with it then. I disagree with it now, but I understand why they tried it. It all failed. All of it failed. I mean, another year of attempted diplomacy, a limited strike in Midnight Hammer. None of it worked. And so what the president is doing now, I think, is fully necessary. And yes, I think we do face challenges, but I think we're going to get the Strait of Hormuz organized. And the other piece of good news there is in less than a year, the UAE is going to have their big new pipeline circumnavigating the strait up and running to carry that 5 million barrels they're going to go up to now they're out of OPEC. The Saudis are expanding Petroline. We're talking to them about doing a natural gas pipeline that would connect the Gulf with the Red Sea.
Wow.
At that point, it's an asset of diminishing return for the Iranians. They're doing this now. They're not going to be able to do it again. So yes, challenges remain right now, but there was also polling this morning saying that most Americans think we are winning in Iran, which we are. And it might take a little bit more time, but I'm quite confident that we're going to get there.